Hello everybody! Last time in Witchwood, we went through the final card reveals, streams revealed cards, and I was like, man, that is so many cards. I never want to do that many cards ever again. And then this time, of course, after like the second or third video, I was like, you know what? I did a take of reviewing that day's video, that day's cards, and it was just like, nah, it's too sad. It just doesn't sound good. I'm super depressed with the cards. Maybe tomorrow will be better. And then I just sort of like didn't make any more videos. So now all the cards are out. So now I'm going to do it all. But I don't want this video to be like 2 hours long. So we're gonna try to go fast, and that's making me really flustered. But that's okay. That's all right. We're gonna move on anyway. We're gonna go through the things by classes, and we're going to go on down through, and then we're going to get to the neutral cards. Just to remind everybody, thumbs up means I like the card. I think it'll see play. I'm going to want to try to play with it a little bit. Maybe is I have no idea if it's going to be any good or not. I don't know if it's any good. I need to wait and see, or we need to see if this new meta idea is going to work, because, you know, there's always cards like that. So that's maybe, and then no means I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna be very good. I personally don't like the card, and that's just how we do. And double reminder, this is for like rank 25 to 20 people. This isn't pro stuff. I mean, maybe I could argue myself down to say it's like rank 15 stuff. But it's just for people who want to have fun, and it's for people who want to look at the cards and try out new crazy stuff and experiment. That's what this whole expansion's about anyway, is experimentation and trying out new stuff, and you can't really do that on, like, the high rank ladder stuff, unless you, like, are so good at the game that you get legendary no matter what, which I am not one of those people. So, alright, we're gonna actually get into it now. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. We got the Druid Legendary. Let's just start with that. Flubbidimus Floop. 4 mana, 3/4. While in your hand, this is a 3/4 copy of the last minion you played. I think it's alright. I think people are a little overhyping it a little bit with like the Malagos trades, the Malagos plays, and like Malagos Druid, or playing some like a 3/4 Stone Tusk Boar, which we saw. I don't think it's gonna be quite like that. I don't know what it's going to be used in, to be perfectly honest. That'll make it good. A 4 mana 3/4 anything isn't really all that good. It needs to be the battle cry or the card effect that really matters. So yeah, the charge and the Malagos really like showcase where you want to be playing this card, but I don't think it'll be those specifically. So I'm gonna give it a maybe. We'll see if it ends up being any good. Next, Floop's Glorious Gloop, the legendary spell. Whenever a minion dies this turn, gain 1 mana crystal this turn only. Remember, ordering is important for this card. Day 9 learned that the hard way. I think it's interesting. I think it's going to be good in a token druid deck where you can like do this one turn where you kill off a whole bunch of stuff and get a whole bunch of mana. It'll be good in rush sort of situations, or in like a lot of sacrifice situations where like you've got this taunt that you need to get rid of, and you need to clear stuff off your board. You throw stuff in, you get all this mana back, and you can do some crazy stuff. I don't believe you can go over 10 mana, so make sure you math that out in your head. So I'm also going to give that a maybe, but I'm leaning more towards yes, because I think no matter what, gaining some mana crystals, gaining some extra mana crystals for a turn is always going to be good, even in not a token deck, but it's better in a token deck where you can get like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 mana crystals, extra mana crystals in a turn. Next, the Juicy Psych Melon, 4 mana spell, draw a 7, 8, 9, and 10 cost minion from your deck. It's sort of, realistically, you're not going to get all of that. Chances are you're going to draw these cards before you get a chance to use them in your deck. I don't know what 10 costs you would possibly want in this deck other than the upcoming Mulch Muncher, which I believe it was said that it's still a 10 cost in your deck even when you play Treants to make it discounted. So there, in order to draw like Mulch Muncher or some other big cards, sure, but I mean, playing this on turn 6 in order to get your turn 7 play, I think is kind of weak. Playing it on curve on turn 4, I think is kind of weak, because you're not doing anything in turn 4, and turn 4 is a big play. turn. So I don't think it's going to work, but maybe specifically for Mulch Muncher. So I'm going to give it a maybe. Next, the Dream Petal Florist. 7 mana 4/4 at the end of your turn. Reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 7. So it's essentially this turn only play a 4/4 and the next turn something else gets a massive discount, which is kind of nice, I guess. Big Druid might like this a little bit. I think Taunt Druid actually would like this, and Taunt Druid hasn't been doing very well lately. And the reason I say that is because it says at the end of your turn. It doesn't say Death Rattle or Battle Cry. It doesn't say do it once. It could potentially do it multiple times. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's only the first end of your turn or if it's at the end of every turn. I don't know, but I think it might be at the end of every turn. If it's only at the end of one turn, then even then you could potentially like use something to get it back into your hand and then play it again to get more discounts. In that case, it might be worth playing, but Big Druid hasn't been doing too well, and you want this thing to survive, so you'd want to put it in something with big taunts, like a Taunt Druid deck, and that hasn't been doing too well either. So I'm going to give this a hesitant maybe, but I'm thinking it's closer to a no. Next, the Dendrologist. 2 mana 2/3 Battle Cry. If you control a treant, discover a spell. 2 mana 2/3 is perfectly fine. You probably don't want to play this on turn 2 unless there's nothing else to play. But if there is nothing else to play and your opponent hasn't played anything on their turn 1, then a 2/3 is probably fine. It's not going to completely ruin you to not get the Battle Cry off, but you'd probably want to get this Battle Cry off. That being said, playing a 2/2 and then this, like playing a treant for like 1 cost and then this, even then probably isn't going to be that great. Really you'd want this to be in some sort of a combo, or you'd want to already have treants on the board due to a previous turn's combo that the enemy just hasn't gotten rid of yet. However, that being said, Druid spells are really good on average. Most of them are pretty good, and it's not just give you a random one, it's Discover, so you get a little bit of leeway in that. I think it's probably going to be worth it. However, it largely depends on whether or not the treant synergy works. So I'm going to give this a maybe, but I'm thinking it's probably closer to a yes. And real quick, the reason why I'm doing that is because a lot of this is experimental stuff. That's what the whole expansion's about. So a lot of this is probably going to be maybe. I don't know if this weird new idea is going to work, but maybe it will. I think it might, or maybe it won't. I think it won't. Next, the Mulch Muncher. 10 mana 8/8 Rush. Costs 1 less for each friendly treant that died this game. Now you want your treants to die, which isn't great. I think it would be better if that many treants that were created this game, that would be better. But even so, there's a lot of ways. There were already plenty of ways to make treants, enough to get this down to like a 4 cost, no problem. Now there's even more stuff, so it's even easier to get this thing to be at least a 4 cost, and a 4 cost is about right. I think making it 4 cost is about the optimum area. I mean, better is obviously better. Getting this to be like a 2 cost or a 0 cost 10 or a 0 cost 8/8 with Rush, that's great. But 4 is still fine, especially since it's a mech. It might have some mech synergies. I don't think Druid has many mech synergies. I don't think you could make a mech synergy treant deck, but maybe you could. But even if you can't, getting it about 4 mana is probably fine. So I'm gonna give this a hesitant yes, just because an 8/8 with Rush is pretty darn good. Even at 8 mana, it's not completely garbage. It's just not as good. Next, the Tending Tauren. 6 mana 3/4. I hope I'm not going too fast. I just don't want this to be 2 hours. I really don't. 6 mana 3/4. Choose one. Give your other minions +1/+1, or summon it to 2/2 treants. I think this is actually pretty good. The 6 mana 3/4 body is kind of crap, and it giving all of your minions +1/+1, it would have to hit at least 3 minions to be worth it. Or summoning the 2/2 treants, that's fine if you're doing a treant synergy or a token druid sort of thing, but if you're not, then that's sort of eh. So, on its own, it's not good, but the things that it fits into so many things, you could probably find a way to get it to fit. It's definitely not bad. It's almost like a it's a weaker Cenarius. I don't remember how much Cenarius costs, but it's like a weaker version of him. And he saw a little bit of play. He still saw... whenever Token Druid, like, works... you can usually find at least one Cenarius sometimes, if people can afford to put him in. So, I think it'll be the same for Tending Tauren. Depending on how much Cenarius costs, I can't remember, you might be able to fit this in where you previously couldn't fit Cenarius because he was too expensive. I don't remember. Next! Oh, wait, maybe, for that reason. It'll be good in a whole bunch of decks, but it's a question of whether or not you can afford to fit him. Now next, Biology Project. 1 mana, each player gains 2 mana crystals. It is important to know that they are filled mana crystals, so on turn 1, this is really good, because it's giving you 2 mana on turn 1, which is fine. It's the same thing as a coin, essentially. Now, it is worth noting that your opponent is definitely going to get the better end of the shtick. And I've argued this before. Your opponent is going to get the better end of the shtick. Because, cool, you got to play 2 mana on turn 1. He gets to play 3 mana on turn 2, and he has the coin. He's got the better end of the shticks. So, I mean, if you are confident that you have a better ramp than your opponent, which, I mean, in all fairness, Druid does do better, then sure. But otherwise, you are giving your opponent more advantage than you're gaining, unless you are using this specifically to ramp. So, very niche. I actually don't think this is gonna work. I've heard a lot of people say to the contrary, though. I've heard a lot of people really excited for this, and like, cool, by turn 3, I'll have 8 mana, and it'll be great. It's like, well, yeah, but you'll have spent the first 3 turns pure ramp, and your opponent can get a lot done in 3 turns, especially when you give them a massive leg up, like 2 extra mana crystals. So, I just don't see it. Maybe, but I just don't see it. Next. The Goop Sprayer. 8 mana, 4/4, battle cry, summon a copy of each adjacent minion. Now, this requires you to have minions on the board, and it's also 8 cost. So, right away, those 2 things really make it kind of suck. Because requiring other stuff on the board is not great for an 8 cost. Like, yeah, we've seen some good ones get some stuff out of it, but you just can't always rely on that being the case, and this body is not good enough to just sort of stand on its own. Summoning a copy of each adjacent minion is pretty good if you can get it off. However, it being 8 costs means you're not going to be able to play too much else on top of it. You're not going to be able to set this up in 1 turn unless you're playing Firefly, and summoning 4 Fireflies in 1 turn is just not amazing. Doing it to Treants is probably the best that you'd want, you know, especially with like with the Mulch Muncher. Doing this to Treants, like in the next card, the Landscaping, you do that and then you do this, but that's 11 mana. You'd have to have a coin, or you'd have to have or play a Biology Project, I guess. I don't know. You'd have to do something in order to play them both at the same turn. Otherwise, you won't be able to, and you just kind of have to rely on your on having stuff already, and the stuff already being good. It definitely seems like a win more card, or a kind of card that you really want to work but just won't, like sort of a meme. I don't think it'll work. Landscaping, on the other hand, 4/4 in total stats and 2 bodies, that's usually not a bad thing, and for 3 mana it's actually pretty good. I'm gonna give that a yes, even in not token druids, even in not a treant deck, that's still actually not bad. So yeah, I think that'll be good. Okay, we're done with druid, on to hunter. Legendary Boommaster Flark, 7 mana, 5/5, battlecry, summon 4 0/2 Goblin Bombs. Goblin Bombs are 0/2, and their death rattle is deal, I think it's 2 or 3 damage to the enemy hero. It's 1 or 2, it's 2 or 3, I can't remember. But either way, it's pretty good. This definitely is good for countering board clear. They're mechs, which gives you a lot of mech synergy to work towards. They're fairly scary. It's almost like boom bots, except you know they're going to hit the enemy's face, which I think is actually pretty good. I like this card. I think it'll see at least a little bit of play. I do. The mana cost might be a little for Hunter, but I think it'll still see a little bit of play. Next, Flark's Boomzooka. 8 mana, legendary spell. Summon 3 minions from your deck. They attack enemy minions and then die. Great in a Death Rattle deck. Okay in any other situation. So, like, if it's just big minions, then you're basically sacrificing 3 really big minions to get rid of potentially not very big minions. You definitely want this to be a big power play, because it's going to take your whole turn. You definitely want this to be to hit things that have Death Rattle, or at the very least, use minions that you're not hinging on drawing, like in minion, because their battle cries don't go off when they get pulled. So if the battle cries don't get off, you don't want battle cry minions to be pulled. Since they die, if they're big minions that you really care about, you don't want them dying immediately because of this card. You want to have drawn them already. Since it's coming from your deck, as long as you've drawn the cards that you know that you want, then playing this is probably pretty safe. It might not kill the things you want to kill. Yeah, I think it will see best play in a Death Rattle deck. So, maybe. I don't think Death Rattle Hunter has worked for a while. Next, Goblin Prank. 2 mana spell. Give a friendly minion +3/+3 and rush, but it dies at the end of the turn. This is a great desperation play card. I think it's perfectly fine. Giving a minion +3/+3 and allowing it to attack immediately, I think is fairly good, and it's cheap, so you can play this on a cheap minion like a Firefly. Give it +3/+3 and let it run into something big and potentially kill it, and you've only spent 3 mana for that. So yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. I think that's good. Good card. Good. Next, the Necromechanic. 5 mana, 3/6. Your Death Rattles trigger twice. It'll be great in a Death Rattle deck. It'll be good even not in a Death Rattle deck, depending on the cards that you've got. Like Savannah Highmane, having that Death Rattle trigger twice is great. They talked about this having some sort of a synergy with the Boomzooka, but that sort of requires the Necromechanic to already be on the board, which you can't really rely on being the case. So I definitely think this will be better at home in a deck that sort of works on your Death Rattles triggering your Death Rattles being big board moves. I think it'll be great in conjunction with Goblin Bombs. I think that'll be hilarious. I think that'll be a great way to mess with it. So in that sort of in a mech hunter with Boommaster Flark, or other ways to make boom bots and like magneticking them together to make the Goblin Bombs like really good, or using things like this and Death Rattle triggers to make the boom bots, the Goblin Bombs go and do their thing twice. I think that'll be great. So I think it's a maybe, but it's probably a yes. Next, oh my god, I'm getting so flustered. I'm trying to go fast and it's just not working. The Cybertech Chip. 2 mana, give your minions Death Rattle, add a random mech to your hand. I like it. I like this card a lot. It's just like the old Beast Hunter synergy card, except it's with mechs, and this is a mech expansion, and we want mech synergy, so that's, yeah, 110%. Next, Spider Bomb. 3 mana, 2/2, magnetic, Death Rattle, destroy a random enemy minion. Yeah, I think it's good. I like it as a magnetic. It gives something a +2/+2 along with an assassin effect, and it only costs 3, or you can play it on your own. I think either way, it's definitely good, because it's basically an assassinate just waiting to happen. Yeah, it suffers from being targeted by silence, but, I mean, who cares? So are all the magnetic cards. Why focus on this card specifically being for that? There are so many more cards that you'd probably want to save it. Like, this is just going to destroy a minion. There are better cards to silence. Next. Thumbs up. Next. Fireworks Tech. 2 mana, 2/1. Battlecry. Give a friendly mech +1/+1. If it has a death rattle, trigger it. Heck yeah. It's essentially a 2 mana 3/2 trigger a friendly death rattle in a mech deck, and that's great. I like that, and I always like it when cards give a friendly minion a boost instead of themselves just having good stats, because that means that the card that you're playing is more useful, and it's cheap, which means that you could play something and then play this on top of it, or you could play something and then next turn, if it's still alive, you could play it. That's not hard to finagle on turn 1. So yeah, I definitely like the Fireworks Tech. Next, Bomb Tossed. 2 mana, deal 2 damage, summon a 0/2 Goblin Bomb. I like the Goblin Bombs. Dealing 2 damage is insanely weak. It's not worth 2 mana. I don't think this will really fit in anywhere except a mech deck. It'll never fit in anywhere except a Death Rattle deck, but in those 2 areas, it's going to be worth it, at least. So I'm going to give this a maybe, but I think yes. Next, The Secret Plan. 1 mana, discover a secret. Sure, Secret Hunter isn't really working, and we don't have too many good secrets. I don't think we've gotten any new Hunter secrets, but the old Hunter secrets definitely aren't bad, and getting this in emergency is fine. I honestly don't think it's worth the card it's printed on. You might want to just put the secret you want in your deck. So I'm going to give this a maybe, but I think there will be those times where you want to be a little extra fluid and you want to discover a secret to fit your situation rather than just have the staple secret and just hoping that that definitely fits your situation. So maybe, but next, the Venomizer. 2 mana, 2/2, magnetic and poisonous. Sure, yeah, why not? It's practically the same thing as a Spider Bomb, but 1 mana less. It's like these 2 things are practically the same, with the difference that this is poisonous, so it kills it on contact, and this is a death that'll destroy a random enemy minion. So this goes off when it dies, this goes off when it attacks. I think actually the Venomizer might just be straight up better. So I'm going to give it a yes. I think Poisonous is cool. I'm sad that Poisonous doesn't work as often as it does, but I like Poisonous. Next! Oh yeah, there's the Goblin Bombs. Oh, it's deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. There you go. Next! The Mages. Stargazer Luna. 3 mana, 2/4. After you play the rightmost card in your hand, draw a card. I mean, it's good with... It's good with Echo cards, but Mage doesn't care about Echo. It's good for like a cheap Burn style Mage, but Burn style Mage hasn't worked in a really long time. Maybe this will bring it back, but I doubt it. I do like that it's cheap, so that you could play this and then just start going, which is good because you're not going to want... Like, your opponent's not going to let this thing live for a turn. Like, giving a Mage the ability to just draw cards is so dangerous. They'll kill this immediately, as fast as they possibly can. So, I'm going to give this a maybe, but I'm thinking no. Next, Luna's Pocket Galaxy. 7 mana legendary spell. Change the cost of minions in your deck to 1. Wow! This is like Quest Druid, except it's in Mage. This is... Except and it's also easier. All you have to do is draw the card. You don't have to play 5 cards that have 5 attack or more, or whatever it was, and then play the 5 mana 8/8, and then it happens. No, all you have to do is draw this, and then the rest of the cards in your deck cost 1. The cards in your hand will still cost their original cost, but who cares? That's so cool. I like it. I don't think it'll work. Let me make that clear. I don't think this is going to set any metas, but I think it's really cool. Actually, that combined with Stargazer Luna, whoof, that might actually work, because all your cards are cost 1, just start... you just go. What does it even matter what they are at that point? It costs 1. Who cares? It's like Yogg-Saron. Next. The Astromancer. 7 mana, 5/5 battlecry. Summon a random minion with cost equal to your hand size. I think that's cool. I actually preferred the original name for this guy. It was like the oh, I can't even remember it now, which sucks because I really liked it. It was like the not so vindictive summoner or something like that. Oh, I can't remember. Oh, it makes me so mad I can't remember. But I liked that card name better than this one because it was sort of punny and self-referential and whatnot. But this is fine too. I think it's going to be great in my random deck. I think my random deck might be coming back, especially with Luna's Pocket Galaxy. I think that's going to be a thing that's going to happen, so I'm going to give it a yes. I don't think it'll work. I don't think it'll work because it's a 7 cost card for 5/5, which is pretty blah, and it requires a hand in Mage, which doesn't often happen unless you're using the staff and you're trying to mill yourself to death. But I mean, what would you need? What would you need? You'd probably need a 4 cost. You'd need 4, so you need 4 other cards in your hand along with this in order to make this worth it. That's not hard. That's not hard. So sure, why not? Next. The Unexpected Results. 4 mana, summon 2 random 2-cost minions, improved by spell damage. The part that's improved by spell damage is the 2-cost part, not the 2 random. It's not summon 5 random 2-cost minions. It's summon 2 random 3-cost or 4-cost or 5-cost minions. And I actually think that's better. A lot of people complain. It's like, no, I'd rather have summon 5 random 2-cost minions. No, you have a bird for that already as mage. You don't need this for that. No, you use this to summon 2 7-cost minions in a crazy combo, and that's really cool. In order to make this good, you'd need 1 spell damage, which isn't hard. You can do that real easy, even without any new cards, and there are new cards. So, sure, why not? Yeah, it's definitely going in my random deck. Even though that random deck usually doesn't have too much spell damage, I'll put some in. Why not? Next, Astral Rift. 2 mana, add 2 random minions to your hand. Meh? I mean, it's good for card draw, so maybe in like an Elemental Mage, if you're having trouble drawing, sure. It's probably a little bit better than Arcane Intellect, because it's a 2-cost instead of 3-cost, and it's not just drawing 2 cards and hoping for the best, it's getting 2 random minions, which is better. I don't see too many people playing Arcane Intellect, but this is better than Arcane Intellect. Take that as you will. Maybe. Celestial Emissary, 2 mana, 2/1 battlecry. Your next spell this turn has spell damage +2. So this combined with this, that's a 6 mana, summon 2 4-cost minions, which is equivalent to an 8 mana turn on turn 6 for 6 mana. That's great. Yeah. Even with other stuff, this is good. Like, you play this, I sort of don't like that it's the next spell you cast and not this turn only have spell damage +2, because I would love to pull off some crazy combos, like play 2 of those deal 5 damage randomlies with this, and it's deal 2 7 damage randomlies and stuff. I would love to pull off some crazy combo like that, but even with it just being your next spell this turn, has some good some good synergy stuff, and it's cheap. The important thing is that it's cheap, so it can go into a combo. Yeah, the 2 mana 2/1 sucks. It's gonna die as soon as it's played, but you know what? Mage plays those all the time anyway, and it works with an elemental deck because it only has 1 health and it's an elemental. So sure, yeah, why not? Next, maybe. Next, Meteorologist, 6 mana, 3/3, ew. Battlecry, for each card in your hand, deal 1 damage to a random enemy In order for this to be good, you'd need 4 cards, I think. No, even then, you'd need more than that, because it only has a 3/3 body. For 6. So you'd need 5, 6... 6 or 7? 6 or 7. You'd need 6 or 7 other cards in your hand. So, this plus 6 or 7 more cards in order for it to be good. And even then, it's probably still not all that good because it's only a 3/3 body and you wasted your turn 6 for it. So, if you've got spell damage, I don't think it works on battle cries. So never mind. I'm gonna give this a no. Next, Cosmic Anomaly. 4 mana, 4/3, spell damage +2 elemental. Sure. 4 mana, 4/3s generally need to have something really powerful. Spell damage +2 is, I mean, to be perfectly honest, they tried to put this on like a 7 mana 2/7 at one point. So, I mean, they must rate it really highly. I personally don't think so. But, I mean, this is going to get killed. It's going to get killed immediately. It only has 3 health. But at least it's a target. It's a target other than you, and it's only 4 cost. And it's got 4 health, 4 attack. So maybe it'll get some good out of it when they target it. But they're definitely going to target it. You'd want to play this out on a combo. So it being an elemental doesn't mean jack, because in a good elemental deck you have as few spells as possible. So this would go into a spell deck. I don't think you would trade this for the ogres. The 4 mana 4/4 ogres that have spell damage. I think it's 4 mana 4/4. I think you'd want that over this, and because that's a basic card, and so I'm gonna say no. Although I probably should bump it up to a maybe, because spell damage +2 is a lot for 1 card. Next, the Research Project. 2 mana, each player draws 2 cards. Cool. We got the Cold Light Oracle, except it's a mage card. Whoop-de crap. Maybe. Rogue play that card so much more than mage. You're not going to mill with this card with mage. You're doing this purely for yourself and then hoping that the opponent doesn't do good. It's the same as the Research Project for Druid, in which case giving your opponent that leg up is not necessarily worth it for you. I think you'd be better off instead playing Astral Rift. Like, Astral Rift is a straight upgrade of the Research Project. Why would you ever play Research Project when you have Astral Rift? You wouldn't. That's the answer. Next, Shooting Star. 1 mana, deal 1 damage to a minion and the minions next to it. This is improved by still spell damage, so this plus this is deal 3 damage to 3 minions, which is pretty nuts for 3 mana. So, I definitely think it has a home. You might actually want to put this into an elemental deck just so that you can, like, get around your opponent trying to, like, meticulously make it so that you can't hit things for 1, because they always do that. So, I'm going to give this a maybe, but I think it's a yes, because it can see good play in multiple different kinds of decks, some of them being actually used decks like Elemental Mage. Onward! Paladin! Crystal Smith Kangor. 2 mana 1/2 Divine Shield Lifesteal. Your healing is doubled. I don't like it. I know a lot of people really like Paladin healing. They're like, oh my gosh, Paladin healing is so much more useful than even Priest. Priest has a lot of healing, but it's not nearly as useful. Paladins, they're useful cards. I don't care. I don't like healing in Paladin. I don't like it. Therefore, I'm giving it a no. That's how this works. 2 mana 1/2 is pathetically weak. Giving it Divine Shield is not nearly good enough. It's not a mech, which means that it doesn't work with magnetic synergies with the lifesteal, which means it's bad, okay? I don't like it. Next, Kangor's Endless Army. 7 mana legendary spell. Resurrect 3 friendly mechs. They keep any magnetic upgrades. It'll be good if Magnetic Paladin is good. I don't know if Magnetic Paladin is going to be good, so I'm going to give it a maybe. Next, Glowstone Technician. 6 mana 3/4 Battlecry. Give all minions in your hand +2/+2. Holy crap, hand buffing is back. Hand buffing is back. What I'm wondering is, does that include with the magnetic in the Kangor's Endless Army? I don't know. Probably not, considering this isn't a mech. But maybe if you play this and then you play a mech on top of it, and maybe it keeps all the buffs subsequent. Maybe. I don't know. Just in general, though, giving all your minions +2/+2 in your hand, what does that need to be good? 3 minions. If you have 3 minions in your hand, then this is good. That's really not hard, especially in a mech deck, especially in a token deck, in an even paladin. It's not hard. It's not hard at all to have 3 minions in your deck, in your hand, excuse me. So I'm gonna give this a maybe, but I think yes. Only a maybe because it's a 6 cost, and a 3/4 for 6 is just, it's so gross. So gross. Next, Prismatic Lens. 4 mana, draw a minion and a spell from your deck, swap their costs. This can have some crazy combos. Now the problem with this, in my mind, is that, yeah, whatever is getting the cost discount is going to be good, but whatever is getting the cost added on, unless it's a really good card, you're never going to play that card. It takes a otherwise potentially playable card and makes it dead. And I am not a fan of that at all. I'm going to give this a maybe. If you're smart, maybe you can find a way to make this work. But I honestly don't think so. And I definitely probably won't make this work. Next. The Annoy-O module. Howdy, howdy, howdy. 4 mana, 2/4 mech with Magnetic, Divine Shield, and Taunt. I like that it's magnetic, I like that it's Divine Shield, so it'll probably survive the first hit while you're preparing to do some magnetic shenanigans, and I like that it is Taunt on a mech, so I believe that this is going to be played purely to annoy other people, because a 4 mana 2/4, even with Divine Shield and Taunt, is really crap, but because it's magnetic, that means you can put it on another minion to potentially make that minion not only survive longer, but also have Taunt now if it didn't have Taunt previously. And doing that, along with giving it 4 health in stats to a new Taunt, that's really good. This is going to be really good as a buff, very annoying as just on its own. So I'm going to give this a maybe, but I think it might actually be a yes, purely for the fact that using it as a buff card is really strong, especially with Kangor's Endless Army, but not just because of Kangor's Endless Army. Next, Crystology. 2 mana, draw 2 1-attack minions from your deck. Token Paladin doesn't really work anymore. It worked when hand buffing was like the main thing, you know? When you could play that 1 mana Taunt and Divine Shield card, but you've been hand buffing it over and over again, and now it's like a 9/9. So if you could prep that with this, then sure. But that's only going to be in Wild, and it's probably not going to be all that good in Wild to begin with. So in Standard, there's just not enough hand buffing anymore to warrant that kind of a play. I definitely don't. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Like maybe this to draw Crystal Smith Kangor, if you really want. If Crystal Smith Kangor turns out to be good, but 4 mana, this I don't see it. No way. I'm gonna say maybe, but probably not. I think not. Next, Shrink Ray. 5 mana, set the attack and health of all minions to 1. But why 5? Why 5 mana? That doesn't make sense. We already had didn't Paladin already have a spell that just reduced all the health to 1? Why does this cost so much more than that? I don't understand that. What's the point of that? I don't like this card. I think it'll be good in Odd Paladin. But that's it. Admittedly, Odd Paladin is really working right now, but I don't think they have got room to fit this card in there. So, maybe, but probably not. Next, Auto Defense Matrix. 1 mana, secret. When one of your minions is attacked, give it Divine Shield. I like this card. I like this card a lot. It gives less flexibility, but more advantages than the other secret, which is the summon the 2/1, because the opponent that's getting hit by it is getting hit for the full force of the thing of the minion that's being attacked, and that is potentially more than 2. And you don't have to have an extra thing on the board, like an extra empty space. Like if your board is full, the secret that summons the 2/1 doesn't proc. So this does that. It's good for if popping Divine Shield is something you want to do. I don't know. I don't remember a card that... I mean, Bolvar Fireblood likes it when that happens, but that's sort of it. But even then, I think this is... Like, it trades better and worse with the 2 mana than the 2/1 secret. But because it does that, I think it might be worth it. So, yeah. I'm gonna give it a yes because I'm optimistic, but we'll see. Next, the Glowtron. 1 mana, 1/3 magnetic. Because it's magnetic, sure. Because it's a mech, more importantly, sure. Because then 1 mana you play this, then 2 mana you can synergize into to something else that's magnetic onto it, or vice versa. This is just like a really cheap give a taunt minion plus 3 health, which is pretty good. I think in magnetic decks it's going to see play. Otherwise, probably not. Like a 1 mana 1/3 is just okay. Like it's a good turn 1 play, but otherwise it's sort of garbage. But in a magnetic deck, it retains that usefulness because then it's a 1 mana give a minion plus 4 in stats, primarily health, which is good. So I'm going to give this a yes purely for that, although I should be giving it a maybe because who knows if magnetic paladin works. I have no idea. Next, Mechano Egg, 5 mana 0/5 mech, Death Rattle, summon an 8/8 Robosaur. So like putting this on top of that on turn 6 isn't bad. Heck, playing this and then like putting a Noyo module on it and this like next turn, that's a pretty good thing to do. Yeah, sure. I don't know that Mechano Egg is gonna work, but because it's a mech, it has that magnetic synergy. Plus, with Kangor's Endless Army, it could come back. Like, potentially, you could put all this stuff on the Mechano Egg, it dies, it summons the Robosaur, it dies, then you use Kangor's Endless Army, you get the 8/8 Robosaur back, and the buffed Mechano Egg back. That's pretty cool. So, maybe. If magnetic paladin works, then Mechano Egg will definitely work. So I'm gonna give it that maybe. Next, Priest. Zarek, Master Cloner, 6 mana, 5/5, Death Rattle. If you've cast any spells on this minion, resummon it. Does it keep the whatever spells you've cast on it active though? Like if I were to put the power word, the power word that gives it +2 health and draw a card. If I do that on this and then it dies anyway, does it come back as a 5/7 or as a 5/5? That's important to know. Because, yeah, this coming back as a semi-free 5/5 is neat, but it's not broken unless it keeps the buffs. It doesn't say it keeps the buffs, but maybe it does, I don't know. I don't think it does because it says resummon it, which means you play it fresh, which is a shame. This is so weak to silence that it'll definitely be the target for that. And even if it's not a target for that, it's only got 5 health on its own, so if you kill it, and then it comes back, and then you could probably kill it again, and then it's just gone. So, cool. What a waste. But, yeah, no, I'm gonna give this a maybe, but I think no. Next, Zarek's Cloning Gallery. 9 mana, summon a 1/1 copy of each minion in your deck. Now that, if this is still in your deck and you play this, and then you give a buff to that 1/1 this, and then it dies, and it comes back as a 5/5. That's pretty cool. In a Death Rattle deck, this is a really good card, Zarek's Cloning Gallery. It'll see play in a Death Rattle deck. I'm going to give it a maybe. Quest Priest is going to love it. Even without Quest Priest, this is actually probably going to be really good. Next, Reckless Experimenter. 5 mana 4/6. Death Rattle minions you play cost 3 less, but die at the end of your turn. You'd only want to play this in a Death Rattle deck where the Death Rattles are more important than the actual minion being played, because it sucks to kill your own minions. It really sucks to kill your own minions. I don't like that. I think it should give it Rush, die at the end of the turn, because then at least you can do something with them before they die. So yeah, I'm not personally a big fan of this card. I'm definitely not going to use it, but I think other people will like it and it'll get some good effect, because it is making a whole bunch of other cards cost 3 lefts, which can result in some really good some good combos, especially with Death Rattle. I'm gonna give it a maybe, but I'm not gonna play it. Okay, I need to take a break. Whew. Alright, next. Power Word Replicate. 5 mana, choose a friendly minion, summon a 5/5 copy of it. Meh. 5 mana, 5/5 is just not very good. Really depends on the other card being good. And that means that this card, requiring that card to be good, means that it's probably not very good on its own. I'm gonna give it a maybe, but probably no. Next, Extra Arms. 3 mana. Spell, give a minion +2/+2, add more arms to your hand that gives +2/+2. Okay, so this is, so this gives +2/+2, and then it gives you another card that is another +2/+2. And we don't have the extra arms, the more arms, so I'm guessing it's the same. So, like, it's extra buff, but giving a minion +2/+2 for 3 is way too expensive. I mean, granted, it is free buffs, so, like, you could get away with making this really useful at some point, but meh. It's just sort of meh. Probably bad, but meh. Next, Omega Medic. 3 mana, 3/4 Battle Cry. If you have 10 mana crystals, restore 10 health to your hero. Everybody else likes this. I'm sort of middling on it, because restoring 10 health to your hero as a priest is not impressive. Like, yeah, it's only 3 mana doing this on top of a 3/4, and a 3/4 is fine. But it's just not very impressive. It's just, yeah, it's just not. Like, you could do the same thing with, like, a 2 mana spell. It's just sort of, It's not really an Omega effect, if you know what I mean. Like, it's good, don't get me wrong. But I just am sort of disappointed by it. Next, the Test Subject. 1 mana, 0/2, Death Rattle. Return any spells you cast on this minion to your hand. So if you cast Extra Arms on this to make it a 4 mana, 2/4, which is gross, you get the extra arms back, which is fine, I guess. I think that would be better. I mean, no, Paladin already have a card like this. Why is this in Priest? Priests don't have a buff synergy sort of thing. Like, not really. They don't have anything like that. It's just sort of meh. I don't think it'll see play. I don't think so. Next, Dead Ringer. 2 mana, 2/1 mech, Death Rattle. Draw a Death Rattle minion from your deck. In a Death Rattle deck, it's really good. In not a Death Rattle deck, it has a chance of drawing you like an Obsidian statue or something, which is still not terrible. 2 mana, 2/1 is sort of gross, and Priest doesn't have any mech synergies. But I think it'll see play. I really do, especially in a Death Rattle deck. Next, Cloning device, 2 mana. Discover a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck. It's pretty okay. Like, it's got some spying capability. You get a card that you didn't previously have for 2 mana. Yeah, you have to pay full mana cost for that card, but at least you get to choose. I think it'll get weeded out really fast, but I think it will see at least a little bit of play. So maybe to know. Next, Topsy-Turvy. 0 cost, swap a minion's attack and health. There's already enough cards like this. I don't think Priest needs it. I don't think it'll be played. Priest, like, there are already enough cards that do this. Next, Rogue. Holy crap. We're only at Rogue and it's like an hour in already. Phew. I am tired. First, the legendary Myra Rotspring. 5 mana, 4/2, Battlecry. Discover a Death Rattle minion. Also gain its Death Rattle. So it depends on the Death Rattle you get. 5 mana, 4/2 is gross. But, getting a Death Rattle minion and then also gaining its Death Rattle Rogue doesn't really work. It never has worked, and this card is not going to make it work. But that being said, giving yourself a free new card is still probably pretty valuable. I think it'll see a little bit of play, but not very much play. I don't think it'll be good. Next, Myra's Unstable Element. Draw the rest of your deck. A lot of people have come up with a whole bunch of like ways to make this good. But if you have to come up with all that stuff, I think it's not probably going to be very good. Maybe someone will find the perfect deck for it. Maybe. But it's not likely, and I don't think it'll be all that good anyway. Like, just drawing the rest of your deck, unless you don't have that much of your deck left anyway, or you have a way of making yourself go forever with like gang ups and stuff, then this isn't very good. And even then, with gang ups and stuff, you're still relying on one card over and over again. I don't think it'll work. A lot of people are very optimistic, but I don't think so. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm bad at Rogue, okay? Take everything I say about Rogue with a massive, heaping, like, pound of salt, because I have no clue. Next, Academic Espionage. 4 mana, shuffle 10 cards into your opponent's... Shuffle 10 cards from your opponent's class into your deck. They cost 1. It is fluffing up your deck a whole lot with potentially useless spells or cards, but they only cost 1. So you could get some crazy stuff out of this. I like it. I like it a lot. It's random. It makes them really cheap, so you get a whole bunch of discounts. It's potentially game-breakingly good, and yeah, I like it, but that's just me. Next, Necrium Vial. 5 mana, trigger a friendly minion's Death Rattle twice. No, that's worth 2 mana. What are you doing? In Hunter, there's literally a 1 mana card that says trigger a friendly minion's Death Rattle. No, that's bad. Next. Blight Nozzle Crawler. 4 mana, 2/4. Ew. Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 ooze with poisonous and rush. So it's a 4-cost 2/4 with a Death Rattle Assassinate. I mean, I guess it's better than Assassinate, but it's still gross. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Next. Necrium Blade. 3 mana, 3/2. Trigger the Death Rattle. Trigger the Death Rattle of a random friendly minion. 3 mana, 3/2 is bleh. By being able to trigger a friendly Death Rattle just for hitting somebody in the face is pretty okay. I'm gonna give this a maybe. Depends on how good Death Rattle Rogue becomes. I don't think it's going to be good, but we'll see. Next, Pogo Hopper. 2 mana, 1/1. Gain Battle Cry. Gain +2/+2 for each other Pogo Hopper you played this game. So it's good in a gang up deck. Good in a Vanish deck. Although, it requires a lot of work for basically what amounts to a weak Jade deck, but it requires way too much work. I think it'll be played with a lot. I think a lot of people are going to play it, don't get me wrong. I think it's going to be tried a whole lot. Because it's adorable. And it's potentially great. But I don't think it's going to work. Next, Crazed Chemist. 5 mana 4/4 combo. Give a friendly minion +4 attack. Because this is a combo, I think it's crap. Because I'm bad at making combos work. I'm not gonna play it, but it's probably good. Take that as you will. Next, Lab Recruiter. 2 mana 3/2. Battlecry. Shuffle 3 copies of a friendly minion into your deck. It's Gang Up, but with a body. And Gang Up was played very middlingly. Mostly it was played with Cold Light Oracle, and when Cold Light Oracle went away, so did Gang Up. But maybe you can get it to work. I mean, especially with like Pogo Hopper or some other cards like that, there might be some hope for Lab Recruiter. If you want to get the Myra's Unstable Element to work, you're going to want a Lab Recruiter. So I'm going to give this a maybe. It's definitely going to be experimented with and a whole bunch of stuff, but I ultimately don't think it's going to work. Next, Violet Haze. 3 mana. Add 2 random Death Rattle cards to your hand. Because it's adding new cards to your hand, it's not drawing them, and it's Death Rattle cards, which means they're going to have an added effect after they die. I think that's definitely worth 3 mana. Yeah, you're going to have to pay the full cost of the cards that you play, but it's 2 brand new cards that you didn't have before, and they're Death Rattle, and they have a Death Rattle, so I think it'll be fine. So yeah, I think so. Next! Oh, I need a drink. Life-giving water. I'm getting so cotton-mouthy. Next, Shaman. Electro Storm Surge. 3 mana, 3/3. Elemental Battlecry. Your next spell this turn casts twice. I think it's potentially really, really good. I think it's nice that it's an elemental, which means it has a little bit of elemental synergy. I don't know if elemental synergy is going to matter at all. I really want Elemental Shaman to work. This isn't going to make it work, but it's a good elemental at least, so hey, there's that. I like it. Next, Stormbringer. 7 mana legendary spell. Transform your minions into random legendary minions. A lot of people have been like, yeah, but legendary minions suck. I don't care. I think it's cool. Shut up. I think it's neat. I think it's too expensive at 7 cost, but I think it's neat. Next, Omega Mind. 2 mana, 2/3. Battlecry. If you have 10 mana crystals, your spells have lifesteal this turn. I'm going to give this a maybe because I have no idea. I think it's great for a combo because it's cheap. Like, you play this, you can still afford a whole bunch of spells. So, it's potentially really good. But your spells having lifesteal, how worthwhile is that in Shaman? I have absolutely no idea. Next, Thunderhead. 4 mana, 3/5. After you play a card with Overload, summon 2 1/1 Sparks with Rush. Hey, look, guys, it's Overload synergy. Isn't that adorable? Overload Shaman synergy. Ha 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 ha. To be absolutely fair, there are a few good, like Overload synergy cards, like the Snow Fury Giants and stuff, that really like Overload. So I mean, I could see it, sure. It's just sort of okay by itself. But in an Overload deck, I think it has a home. I don't think Overload deck is going to work, but I still think it's pretty neat. So I'm going to experiment with it. We'll see. I know, I'm changing around my hands. Look, I'm tired. Next, Eureka. 6 mana spell. Summon a copy of a random minion in your hand. It would require the card that you're summoning to at least be over 6 mana worth, even without a battle cry. which is severely unlikely in Shaman. Maybe, but probably not. Next. Voltaic Burst. 1 mana, summon 2 1/1 sparks with Rush. Overload 1. So it works with Thunderhead. And it goes to sort of a token thing along with Stormbringer. I think this plus this in a Stormbringer deck is going to be really neat. Time will tell if that works. I don't know. Like, listen. Heck, even this plus this, yeah, you'll be overloaded for 2 because it casts twice. But you get 4 less things. So, you play this into this. And then coin, if you still have coin, you can play this right away. Or next turn, if all your 1/1s still live, you can play this next turn. Get some crazy, crazy stuff happening. Heck, you can play this. And then next turn, if this is still alive, you play this. And then you get all those. And then this. And there you go. So that's pretty neat. I like the whole Stormbringer synergy kind of thing. I like it. I want to experiment with it. Next, this is maybe, because even without a Stormbringer synergy, summoning 2 1/1s with Rush for 1 is pretty okay. Like, it's basically a 2/2 with Rush for 1, and that's not bad. Storm Chaser, 4 mana, 3/4 elemental, Battlecry, draw a spell from your deck that costs 5 or more. A 4 mana 3/4 is blah, but you're drawing a spell that'll be useful next turn or soon. So it's good for sort of like leading up to the next good thing. I'm gonna give it a maybe. I think it'll see a little bit of play. It might not stick around. I don't know. It is an elemental, so it has elemental synergy. But time will tell. Next. Beakered Lightning, 0 mana, deal 1 damage to all minions, overload 2. That's trash. Even in an overload deck, why would you want to deal damage to all minions? And then it also has overload. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Next. Elementary Reaction, 2 mana, draw a card, copy it if you played an elemental last turn. So, wait, copy it? So wait, you draw a card. If you played an elemental last turn, you get 2 of them? Or does it automatically get played with this? I don't know. This is a confusing card. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. Next. Menacing Nimbus, 2 mana, 2/2 elemental, add a random elemental to your hand. It's a battle cry, which makes it good. If it was a death rattle, it would be crap. I think it's playable as a battle cry, so I'm going to give it a yes. Even in a not elemental synergy deck, I think giving yourself a random elemental, there's a lot of good elementals. There's not really that many bad ones, so sure. Next. Warlock. Starting with Dr. Morrigan. Neat. 8 mana, 5/5. Death Rattle. Swap this with a minion in your deck. That's pretty cool. It basically means that it's immortal. 8 mana, 5/5 is just complete crap, though. Whatever it summons would have to be good. Which is not a guarantee with Warlock. Especially since you won't get any, like, battle cry going off. So, I don't like it. I think it has too much risk of being really bad. And it's too expensive for that. Next. The Solarium. 1 mana, draw 3 cards at the end of your turn, discard them. Good in really late game, potentially damning. So, much like the rest of Hunter, potentially damning. Maybe, I think it'll see a little bit of play, but we'll have to just wait and see whether or not in the late game, drawing 3 cards and playing all 3 of them is worth it. Zoo deck will like it. Like a zoo Warlock. Next, Ectomancy. 6 mana, summon copies of all demons you control. Holy crap, I like that. It does sort of clog up your Death Knight, but in a Demonology deck, I think that's really cool. I like that a lot. Next, I'm gonna give it a maybe to a yes. Next, Omega Agent, 5 mana 4/5, Battlecry. If you have 10 mana crystals, summon 2 copies of it. Everybody's confused by this card. Why is this a Warlock card? Why isn't this a Rogue card? Don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's not very good. It's not a demon, so it doesn't have demon synergy. It's not anything. It, like, yeah, for 5 mana you get essentially 12, 15, I think, in stats. Which is fine, but it's just not amazing. It's just okay. It's sort of disappointing. Like the Priest Omega card. So I'm gonna give it a maybe. Like, maybe there'll be some use for it. But I kind of doubt it. Next. The Nether Soul Buster. 3 mana, 1/5 demon. Battlecry, gain 1 attack for each damage your hero has taken this turn. Self-damage doesn't really work anymore. This is straight up inferior to the old eye monster, the old Beholder. It's too bad that's in Wild now. I guess if you can hurt yourself enough, but I don't like self-harm Warlock. You'd need a lot of lifesteal to get over it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, yeah, even as a, like, what would you need? Okay, let's ask this question. What would you need for this to be good? Probably 3 damage. If you deal 3 damage to yourself in this turn, then this is worth it just as a 4/5. 3 mana 4/5 is pretty darn good. But you'd have to deal 3 damage to yourself, which means it'd have to be a combo card, so you'd want to get more out of it than that. So then a 6/5? Maybe? It depends on how much mana you're wasting trying to hurt yourself for this card. I just don't think it's good. Next! Soul Infusion, 1 mana, give the leftmost minion in your hand, +2/+2. Hey, 1 mana +2/+2 ain't bad. It kind of sucks you can't aim it, but it's in your hand, which is good. Hand buffing is good. Really depends on whether or not it's worth putting this card in your deck, because it's a 1 mana spell. I'm gonna give it a maybe, but I think yes. I'm optimistic with that card. Next! Void Analyst, 2 mana, 2/2 demon. Death Rattle, give all demons in your hand +1/+1. What is this? This hand buffing Warlock I am seeing before me. I love it. I love the idea. I hate it's a Death Rattle, but it's something. Next, Demonic Project. 2 cost, each player transform a random minion in their hand into a demon. Ooh, excuse me. I think it's okay. Demons have a bad habit of being bad, and you can't choose, so it could mess up your combo a lot. You'd have to, really only play this if you've already played, or if you don't have, any important cards in your hand, which sort of sucks. But it can mess up your opponent if it just happens to hit the right card. It's sort of a lucky card. I'm not really into it. Next, which surprises me actually, because I usually really like random cards, but random demons just don't end up being very good most of the time. Anyway, next, the Doubling Imp, 3 mana, 2/2, Battlecry, summon a copy of this minion. With all this hand buffing stuff, sure, why not? I mean, even then, a 3 mana 4/4 isn't bad. We've talked about this before in Druid. They have a 3 mana 4/4 in Treants. This is in Demons. Sure, why not? Middle to yes, especially with all this hand buffing going on. Next, Spirit Bomb. Ha 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 ha. It's a Spirit Bomb. 2 mana, deal 4 damage to a minion and your hero. Maybe, but I don't really like it. Makes me sad. Next. Warrior! I gotta take another drink. I'm so tired. Making good progress, though. It's only been like an hour. But man, my throat hurts now. Warrior! Dr. Boom Mad Genius! It's the hero card! Woohoo! It's pretty darn good. There's a graph at the bottom of this that will go into more detail, but basically 7 mana gives you salmon armor. For the rest of the game, your mechs have rush, and the button, it's a big red button, and it changes every turn whether or not you use it. So you can't hold on to a specific hero power across turns. It changes no matter what. However, all of the hero powers it has are generally really good. Here, we can go over them real quick. The big red button is just what it looks like when you're gonna play it. It's like the holdover. The other 5 are the ones it can be. Micro Squad summon 3 1/1 microbots. The microbots are mechs. They have rush because of this. So summon 3 1/1s with rush, deal 3 damage, gain 7 armor, deal 1 damage to all enemies, and discover a mech. All of these are good. Definitely worth 2 or more in some cases. Like, the only really dead one to me is the Discover a Mech. Like, that's the one you're probably not going to be too happy to get. But discovering a mech can lead to some really good stuff, especially with this whole magnetic stuff going on. So, even then, it's definitely not bad. It's just, in my personal opinion, it's not as good as the others. But that's just me. I could be totally wrong. Heck, maybe this one is the worst, because it only deals 1 damage. I don't know. Anyway, so that's that. I definitely think it's good. It's going to be C-play. I want it. I want it a lot. Next, the Boom Ship. 9 mana, legendary spell. Summon 3 random minions from your hand and give them rush. For 9, it can mess up your synergies, but it does give them all rush, even if they're not mechs. And it doesn't require Dr. Boom to be out. So, ultimately, I think it's good, but it's probably a maybe. It might not see... It might get ruled out for other stuff. Next! The Beryllium Nullifier. 7 mana, 3/8. Magnetic. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. I've said this before. You cannot underestimate the can't be targeted by spells and hero powers. A lot of people are like, ew, gross, it's not powerful enough, it doesn't have taunt, it's ew, it's only got 3 attack. Do not underestimate the can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Do not underestimate it, especially since it's magnetic. You put this on a taunt, or you put a taunt on it, and suddenly it becomes insane. I'm telling you, watch out for this card. I think it's a sleeper. I think a lot of people are like, no, it's not good. I think it's good. I'll probably be wrong, but I think it's good. Next, the Super Collider. 5 mana, 1/3. After you attack a minion, force it to attack one of its neighbors. It'll be good in an armor deck where it doesn't matter how much damage you take yourself. It might be good in Dr. Boom because you get that 7 armor, and then one of your hero powers is gain 7 armor, which is pretty nuts. So... in that case, I think it'll be good. It does attack randomly one of the enemy minions, but you can control it slightly by attacking someone in, like, the extremes. So it'll always attack the only one that it's next to. So you get a little bit of control. But I think either way, it has some hope. I'm gonna give it a maybe. Next, Omega Assembly. 1 mana, discover a mech. If you have 10 mana crystals, you keep all 3 cards. I think this is a good one. Not only because you get to keep a whole bunch of new cards, but it only costs 1, so you can play some of those cards afterwards. It's probably my favorite Omega card so far. I really like it. Next, the Security Rover. 6 mana, 2/5 mech. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon a 2/3 mech with taunt. This with Beryllium Nullifier is crazy. That's just insane. 5 mana, it's a 5/13. Whenever it takes damage, summon a 2/3 mech with taunt, and it can't be targeted by spells. That's nuts. It's so good. Oh, it's super expensive though. Even so, I think it's good. Like, its stats on its own are pretty bleh, but it's no worse than a Hogger, and its stuff that it spawns are better than a Hogger. Plus, they're mechs, so you could put stuff on top of them. I think it'll be played. Next, the Dino-Matic. 5 mana, 3/4 mech battlecry. Deal 5 damage, randomly split among all minions except mechs. Like, if you're playing an all-mech deck, then you're only gonna hit your enemy minions. But even so, 5 mana, 3/4 plus a 3 mana spell that has the chance of hitting your own minions is just, it's not that good. And it doesn't have anything else going for it, so yeah, I think it's a maybe to a no. Next, Eternium Rover. 1 mana, 1/3 mech. Whenever this minion takes damage, gain 2 armor. Wow! I really like this. I wish it had magnetic. But you could magnetic other stuff onto it to make it amazing. Heck, even without it. 1 mana, 1/3. Whenever this minion takes damage, gain 2 armor. That's probably going to be at least once or twice. If it gets hit twice, that's worth it. Even without anything added on top. So I think it'll probably be played. I think it's a safe 1-cost card. Next, Rocket Boots. 2 mana, give a minion rush, draw a card. I guess for the card draw, but I'm not really into it. Maybe I'll settle for a maybe. I'll compromise for a maybe. Next, Weapons Project. 2 mana, each player equips a 2/3 weapon and gains 6 armor. It'll be good in an Armor Warrior. It'll be good in a Dr. Boom Warrior. It won't be good in a Weapon Warrior. It will be good to counter an opponent's weapon, especially if they do like a legendary weapon. It'll be good to counter that. I'll give it a maybe. It's probably a safe yes, just because it's a safe card to play. It's not going to hurt you. But, yeah, I'll just give it a maybe. Alright. We're at the neutral cards. We made it in under an hour and a half. On to the neutral cards. Let me take another drink. Oh, that's gonna hurt a lot. I've got like something right there that's gonna like just destroy my throat. Alright, so Harbinger Celestia. Cool My Little Pony reference. 4 mana, 5/6 stealth. After your opponent plays a minion, become a copy of it. I think this is kind of crap. If you can give it rush or charge, then it's good because it's 4 mana, 5/6. But all your opponent has to do is play a card that's crappy, like has bad stats. All they have to do is play a Firefly. That's not hard. You play a Firefly, this thing becomes worthless. So I'm saying no. Like, it's a good counter to big minion decks, but it's really not hard to counter. Mech Cthulhu. 10 mana, 10/10 mech. Death Rattle. If you have no cards in your deck, hand, and battlefield, destroy enemy hero. It's a great meme card, but it's trash. It's definitely going to be played. It's definitely going to be tried. It's definitely going to be in a whole bunch of meme compilations. But that's it. Next. Subject 9. 5 mana, 4/4 battlecry. Draw 5 different secrets from your deck. A secret? We haven't gotten a whole lot of secrets this expansion. Secret Mage, Secret Paladin, Secret... Not Secret Road, because there's only 3 secrets. So Secret Mage or Secret Paladin. There's not a lot of new secrets. Maybe Secret Hunter. Secret Hunter would work, because it's a beast. I don't think so. I really don't. Next, Whizbang the Wonderful! You start the game with one of Whizbang's wonderful decks. I'm going to craft this. I want this card a lot. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. Everybody knows what it does. Everybody's explained it. I guess I'll explain it too, because, you know, everybody's explained it. Why not me? It's one of the deck recipes. It's not including the classic recipe. It's the other two of all the other things. It's the only one you put in. You put this one in, it gets rid of all the other cards that you might have put in. It changes the name of the deck to Whizbang Wonderful's deck. And you play it, and it's one of the deck recipes. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of random, and I really love it. Next. Zilliax, 5-mana 3/2 mech, Magnetic, Divine Shield, Taunt, Lifesteal, Rush. It's good in a magnetic deck. It's probably good on its own. But specifically in a magnetic deck, it's going to be really, really good. Next. Augmented Elec, 3-mana 3/4 Beast. Whenever you shuffle a card into a deck, shuffle an extra copy in. So specifically for Rogue, I think. I don't know why it's not a Rogue card, but, I mean, it's just sort of okay. There are going to be times when you don't want to shuffle an extra copy in, but, I mean, in like a Spider deck, like a Falderai Strider deck, I think this is going to be good. In a Gang Up deck, I think it's going to be okay. Okay, assuming you don't mind having a whole bunch of whatever card you're putting in. Next, the Crystallizer, 1-mana 1/3 Battlecry, deal 5 damage to your hero, gain 5 armor. Actually, I kind of like that. The reason is because there's a lot of times when you want to heal yourself, or there's an effect that wants to heal you, but you're not damaged yet. And 5 armor is generally better than having 5 health anyway. So, in a Paladin deck, Priest deck, potentially a Mage deck, potentially a Warlock deck, potentially a Warrior deck, there's a lot of ways that that card can be good. At first glance, it's god-awful, but actually I'm going to give it a maybe. It has a lot of potential. Next. The EMP Operative, 5-mana 3/3 Battlecry, destroy a mech. We've seen that with dragons, and it wasn't good with dragons. I don't think it's going to be good here either. I don't think it'll be played. It's not good enough. If it was like destroy all mechs, then it has... Then maybe. It actually would make a lot more sense to be destroy all mechs. I think they should change that to be destroy all mechs, because then it has some use. Next. The Holomancer, 5-mana 3/3. After your opponent plays a minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it. So it's kind of like the Magic Mirror in Karazhan. But it's a 3/3 for 5. No, I think it's too hard. I think it's too easy to counter. I don't think it'll see play. It's too expensive and too easy to counter. It should be a 4 cost or maybe even a 3 cost. Next. Loose Specimen, 5-mana 6/6 Battlecry, deals 6 damage randomly split among other friendly minions. Ew, why? Ew, why? No, ew. Next. Maybe if it was a 3 cost. A 3 cost 6/6? Then, yeah, sure. But 5 cost? No. Next, Omega Defender, 4-mana 2/6 Taunt Battlecry. If you have 10 mana crystals, gain +10 attack. It becomes a 4-mana 12/6. Is that new art? That's not the art it had before. Yeah, the Omega Defender looks different. I'm sure, I think that's not what that looked like. The Omega Defender did not look like that. Maybe I'm going crazy. But I could swear it didn't look like that. Either way, we've talked about this one before. It's okay, not very good on turn 4, but at turn 10 it becomes amazing. And yeah, I think it'll see some play. Turn 10, 4 cost, it's just not that hard. Yeah, you have to sit on it for a long time, but I think it's worth it. Because it has taunt. Next. Seaphorium Bomber, 5 mana, 5/5. Shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck when drawn and explodes for 5 damage. It's kind of like that legendary spider tank thing. I can't remember what it's called. The Scorpion Shredder Juggernaut. Iron Juggernaut? I think so. It's like that, only not quite as good. I think you'll see some play. I think it's neat. I think it's a neat card. Next, the Star Aligner. 7 mana, 7/7. Battlecry. If it controls 3 minions with 7 health, deals 7 damage to all enemies. So it's basically rolling. It's literally like the roulette card. You get 3 7s, you do a lot of damage. Yay! I think it'll be a cool meme. I think a lot of people are going to try to do this. It's very thematic and cool, but I don't think it'll actually work. I'm going to give it a maybe. It'll see play, but I don't think it'll be good. Next, Weaponized Pinata. 4 mana, 4/3. Death Rattle. Add a random legendary minion to your hand. Yeah, you're going to have to pay full mana for the random minion, but I think it's freaking cool, and I'm going to put it in my random deck. Screw you. Plus, it's a mech, so you can upgrade it. I don't know why you would waste your time upgrading this card, but fuck it. Next, Giggling Inventor, 5 mana, 2/1, Battlecry, summon 2 1/2 mechs with Taunt and Divine Shield. So it basically summons 2 Annoyotrons. So that's 2 2-cost cards, plus this one as a 1-cost card. That's 5 mana. It fills 3 slots. Maybe to a yes. I think it's mostly just going to be annoying. In Wild, this card all on its own could activate Voltron. That's a cool idea to think about. This into Mimiron's head equals Voltron. Next, Mechanical Whelp. 6 mana, 2/2. Death Rattle, summon a 7/7 Mechanical Dragon. Only good in a Death Rattle deck like Death Rattle Hunter where you can get it to go off multiple times. Otherwise, it is trash. Next, Missile Launcher, 6 mana, 4/4 magnetic. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all other characters. I like it because it's magnetic, but otherwise it's trash. I'm gonna give it a maybe. I like it because it's magnetic, but otherwise it is trash. Next, Replicating Menace, 4 mana, 3/1 magnetic. Death Rattle, summon 3 1/1 Microbots. I'm not really a fan. I think it should be Death Rattle, summon 3 3/1 bots, because that would make more sense with the replicating part. I don't like it. It's 4 mana, give something else a 4 mana boost, like a 4 stats worth of boost, which is not very good. The Death Rattle's not very good. It's not very good. Next, the Arcane Dynamo. 6 mana, 3/4. Battlecry, discover a spell that costs 5 or more. It'll be good in Big Mage. It might be good in Shaman, but probably not. It might be good in Mage, period, but it's so expensive at 6 mana. I actually don't think it's very good. Like, maybe I'll be wrong, because you can discover the spell, but I don't think it's very good. Next, the Galvanizer. 2 mana, 1/2 mech. Battlecry, reduce the cost of mechs in your hand by 1. Yeah, sure. It's a little bit too expensive at 2 mana, but what would you need for this to be good? To have 3 mechs in your hand. Any mech deck is definitely going to have more than 3 mechs in their hand. Yeah, sure. Next, Spark Drill. Hey, that thing's cool. It looks cool. 6 mana, 5/1 is garbage, but it's got Rush. Death Rattle, add 2 1/1 sparks with Rush to your hand. Ew, that's gross. Ew, it's bad. Now that I look at it, it's bad. It's too bad the card art looks amazing, but it's bad. I guess because it's a mech, you could, like, magnetic something onto it, but it's still not very good. It's too expensive. Next, Spark Engine, 2 mana, 2/1 mech, Battlecry, add a 1/1 spark with rush to your hand. What is with all this hand stuff? We don't have nearly enough hand buff mechanics. Why do you want to fill your hand with 1/1s? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. Next, Unpowered Mauler, 2 mana, 2/4 mech, can only attack if you cast a spell this turn. Ooh. I mean, I guess it's a body. 2 mana, 2/4 for 2 is pretty good. I'm maybe, but probably not. Next, Brainstormer. 3 mana, 3/1 Battlecry, gain 1 health for each spell in your hand. How many spells do you need for this to be good? 3. 3 spells in your hand? That's pretty bad. Next, Bronze Gatekeeper. 3 mana, 1/5 Magnetic and Taunt. Yes! 1,000 times yes. You put this in a mech warrior with the beryllium dude. That's perfect. That's a 10 mana play that gives you a 4/13 taunt, can't be targeted by spells and hero powers. That's amazing. Even without that, 3 mana give a mech +5 health and taunt is so good. Amazing. 100% yes. Next, Bulldozer. I love the pun. 9 mana, 9/7 with mech Divine Shield is not very good, though. Like, if you can get it on a discount somehow, like with the Galvanizer. But even then, 8 mana, 9/7 with Divine Shield is still not very good. It's not very good. Like, yeah, it's a nice big minion, but it's not very good. Next, Cloak Scale Chemist, 2 mana, 1/2 Stealth Divine Shield. For 2 mana? Maybe, but probably not. I think that's too expensive. It should be 1 mana. Next, Coppertail Imposter. 4 mana, 4/4 Battlecry, gains stealth until your next turn with mech. It's a good target for a magnetic because you could play it. It's got stealth, so it probably won't be destroyed. And the next turn, you've got the turn 5 to put some magnetic stuff on it. So in a magnetic deck, I think it'll see play. But otherwise, it won't see any play. It's too weak. Next, your drink. Next, the Damaged Stegotron. 6 mana, 5/12 Taunt. Battlecry, deal 6 damage to this minion. In Priest, it's going to be good. In a Recruit deck, if one such thing exists, it's going to be good. In a Magnetic deck, it's going to be good. Because it's still a 5/6 with Taunt, with a larger maximum health for 6. So I think it's good. I like that card. Plus, in Lady in White deck, it's actually a 6 mana 12/6 or 12/12. That's pretty good. Next, it's actually a reverse almost of the bear, of the Witchwood Grizzly. It's like a reverse of that almost. Next, the Electrorite. 3 mana, 3/5 Battlecry. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, gain +1/+1. I think we've seen this back in Blackrock Foundry, didn't we? It's sort of like that. Oh no, it's a 3/3, not a 3/5. But a 3 mana 3/3 or a 3 mana 4/4. 3 mana 4/4 still isn't all that good. It's just sort of meh. Like, if you've already got the big spells, then sure. But a 3 mana 4/4 still isn't all that good. Next, the Explodinator. It kind of looks like Clank from Ratchet and Clank. 4 mana 3/2 Battlecry, summon 2/0/2 Goblin Bombs. It'll be good in that Hunter deck that likes the Goblin Bombs. It'll be good in any mech deck because you can put stuff on the Goblin Bombs. There's actually the Goblin Bomb down here. I actually don't know if it's actually a card. If it's just a card, 1 mana, 0/2, death rattle, deal 2 damage to an enemy minion as a mech is not very good. Not on its own, it's not. The Explodinator, however, is maybe to a yes. Because summoning 2 Goblin Bombs along with a 3/2 body, like 4 mana 3/2 is bad. But 4 mana 3/2 summon 2 1-cost minions, it's not bad. That's pretty okay. Next, the Faithful Lumi. 1 mana 1/1 Battlecry, give a friendly mech +1. I don't like it, to be perfectly honest. I think, A, it should put another copy of itself in your deck. Like, you play this, give a friendly minion, and then Death Rattle, shuffle it back into your deck. Or it's give all friendly mechs +1/+1. One of those two. Because just on its own, it being a 1 mana 1/1 is not worth putting in your deck, even though it gives you a friendly mech +1/+1. It's just not worth it. It's not worth being a card in your deck. It's not. No. Skipping the Goblin Bomb. Next, the Kaboom Bot. 3 mana 2/2 Death Rattle, deal 4 damage to a random enemy minion. Meh. It's meh. It's a 3 mana 2/2, which isn't very good. Its Death Rattle is good, but meh. It'll be good in a Death Rattle Hunter, but otherwise it's just meh. Next, the Mecharoo. 1 mana 1/1 Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 Joey Bot. No. I mean, it's basically the same thing as the... I mean, to be fair, the Warlock version of this card saw a lot of play. But I think we've moved past the point where it can be good in just a neutral. I don't think it'll be good. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a safe play in, like, just being a 1-cost card. You just throw it out. Hey, it's that Warlock card, only it's in neutral now. Maybe it works, but I don't think so. Next, Microtech Controller. 3 mana 2/1 Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 Microbots. Other than in Wild, synergizing with, like, Mimiron's head to make Voltron, I don't see it. It's 3 mana, summon 3 1/1s. Or summon a 2/1 and 2 more 1/1s for 3 mana. It's just okay to know. Like, if you've got board buff or a whole lot of mech synergy, maybe. But I don't think so. Next. The Piloted Reaper. 4 mana... 4/3, Death Rattle, summon a random minion from your hand that costs 2 or less. I don't like it. It's like a straight up worse Piloted Shredder. It's just a worse Piloted Shredder. Because it summons from your hand instead of giving you a random minion. So it's just worse. I don't like it. Next, the Rusty Recycler. 5 mana 2/6 Taunt and Lifesteal. It's Wally. It's the Wally card. It's Wally. 5 mana 2/6 with Taunt and Lifesteal is okay, but the fact that it is a mech and can be boosted by Magnetic makes it good in Magnetic decks, and even without it, Lifesteal makes it worthwhile, at least in Priest and Paladin and Warlock. So it'll see some play. But I think its home is in a mech deck. Next, Skaterbot. 1 mana, 1/1 Magnetic and Rush. So basically this is 1 mana, give a mech Rush. Give a mech +1/+1 in Rush. Which is okay. It's okay. Maybe. I'm not entirely convinced it's worthy of being a card in your deck. But I mean, if you get it for free somehow, then hooray! But I'm not entirely sure it's worthy of being a card in your deck, if that makes sense. Otherwise, it's a pretty okay card. Next, 3 mana, the Spring Rocket. 3 mana, 2/1 mech. Battlecry, deal 2 damage. Nah, it's pretty that's not very good. Next, Steel Rager. 4 mana, 5/1 mech with Rush. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Like, yeah, because it's mech, you could put it on a magnetic with something and just give it, like, really high attack and run it into something to kill it. But for 4 mana, no. For 3 mana, maybe. For 2 mana, yes. 4 mana, no. Next, Toxicologist. 2 mana, 2/2, Battlecry, give your weapon +1 attack. Because it's neutral, it has some hope, but I'm doubtful. Next, the Upgradable Framebot. 2 mana, 1/5 mech. Yes, it is a great mech starter card. It's the card that's going to make mech slightly more it's going to be in all the mech decks because it's a 2 mana 1/5 and then you can buff it. Like it's a good base card. Next, War Gear. 5 mana 5/5 with magnetic. Yes. I mean, heck, you just combine those two together. That's a 7 mana 6/10. That's pretty good. And that's just with those two. So that's the common, like, these two are the two that really give mech decks hope in as far as, like, that really goes. Like, it's great. A great card as a magnetic card to boost, and a great card as a base card to magnetic onto. Finally, the Whirly Glider. 2 mana, 2/1 Battlecry, summon a 0/2 Goblin Bomb. It's good in decks that like Goblin Bombs. I'm seeing this Goblin Bomb Hunter deck like come into play with like Death Rattle Goblin Bomb Hunter magnetic deck. Like that's gonna be a thing that somebody's gonna try, and it's gonna be probably not very good, but I'd love to see it. All right. And that's all the cards. Hooray, I did it! It took an hour and a half, but it's better than 2 hours. I did a lot better than I thought I was going to do. I am tired. I am ready to sleep. That was exhausting. Alright. The expansion comes out soon. I'm going to do my card opening video like I always do. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye, everybody.